Today's topic is measure of central tendency, or we can say the measure of central location. So, what is a measure of central tendency? It is a single value to represent each point of the data. Suppose we have 100 points in our data, and to represent those 100 points in the data through a single value, by using single value, we calculate the measure of central tendency. So it is a single value which is the representative of the entire data distribution. So for example, if I ask one student who studies 10 subjects in the last semester, and I ask him that how many marks you got in each of the subjects. So he studies 10 subjects in the last semester. So he will tell me that he got suppose 90 in mathematics, 80 in chemistry, 84 in physics, in English I think I assume 75. So in all the 10 subjects he tells me that how many marks he got. But remembering the 10 marks, the marks of 10 subjects is very difficult. So I don't have any idea about the performance of the student. He tells me that suppose 10 the 10 subjects marks are like 90, 80, 84, 66, 75, 58, 93. So and I'm asking a single student. So for single student I have 10 data points, and for and to remember all the data points, that means all subjects marks, all 10 subjects marks for single student is very uh, mm, I must say it is very confusing, or it is very hard to remember. So and also I don't get any idea of the performance of the student. But instead if he tells me that he gets suppose 84 average marks in all these subjects. So by using this single value, that at 84, I have an idea, that means I get an idea that in all these subjects he got near about 84 marks. So through single value I can remember all the subjects marks. So if he tells me that he got 84 average marks in all the hundreds, all the 10 subjects. So by using this single value, that is 84, I can remember I can have the idea of the student's performance. Similarly, if this is the single student's data, if I ask the same question to the other student, and he also tells me about the subject marks in 10 subjects. So again, the more data means the more confusion. I cannot remember all the data points. And if suppose I have 60 students or 100 students in my class, so I cannot remember all the data points. So for this purpose, and if in the same case, if the both students tell me the average marks, one got suppose 84, other got suppose 81 or 75 average marks. So I can compare, means I have two information that first student got 84 average mark, that means in all 10 subjects he got near about 84 marks, and second student got suppose 875 average mark, that means in all the subjects he got near about 75 marks. So I have an idea about all the subject marks, that means about the students performance, and also I can compare both of these students. I cannot compare through 10 subjects marks. Means suppose he one got in maths 92, other got suppose 84. In physics, first got suppose 75, second got 93. So in one subject, one student has got more marks, and in other subject, other student got the more marks. So I cannot compare because there are 10 subjects for both of these students. So if I know the single value which represents each point of the data. That means which represents each marks of the subject, which represents marks of the each subject. So I can have the information. I have an idea about the performance of the students, and also I can compare my students, that 84 average marks and 75 average marks. So which is better? Who is better? So for this purpose, we need to calculate the central tendency. So measure of central tendency, it allows us to compare the data points, to have the information about the data points. So to extract from the information from the data, we calculate this statistical technique, which is measure of central tendency. So now I assume that you know what is what is the purpose of measure of central tendency. So it is a single value which represents the whole data points. Clear? It represents a single value in the data which is representative of the entire data distribution. That is, it gives us an idea about the concentration of the values in the central part of the distribution. So we have a lot of measures of central tendency, like arithmetic mean, which is mean, median, mode, geometric mean, harmonic mean. So there are a lot of measures of central tendency, and each of this has its own importance. We cannot say that median is better or mode is better or arithmetic mean is better. Actually, it depends on the application that which measure is to be used. For example, for a shoe production company, if that company starts before starting the production of shoes, suppose it does a survey, because before starting the production, it must know that which shoe size is to be produced more than the other shoe size. So for that, it does a survey. Suppose it asks 100 people, that what is your shoe size, what is your shoe size. So all 100 people tells about his shoe size. So suppose someone wears 7 number, 8 number, 6 number, 9 number, 10 number. So suppose the shoe production company, because again we have a data, means a lot of information in the data. So for 100 people we have collected the shoe size. So shoe size may be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and repetition of these shoe size. And if suppose the company takes the average of these this for this sample, and suppose the average comes out, suppose 7.9 or 7.2 or 8.4. So the shoe production company cannot apply this information for the production, because there is no people in the sample who wears the 6.5 or 7.9 shoe size. So if the company does not know about the which measure of central tendencies to be used, and suppose it takes the average of the all the shoe size, so the company will go in the loss, because if it produces the 7.9 or 8.4 shoe size, nobody will purchase that. So for that we must have the idea or the knowledge that which measure is to be used. So in that case, the mode is more appropriate for the shoe production company, because mode is the most frequent value in the data point. So for 100 people we have collected the shoe sizes. So out of those shoe sizes, which number is appearing more than the other number, so that is the mode. So for shoe production company, the average is not appropriate, but the mode is more appropriate. So it must calculate the mode of the sample. So all the measures of central tendency, they have their own importance. So we cannot say the one measure is better than the other. It depends on the application, which measure you have to use. So before applying, before to know how to measure the central tendency, we must have the data, because these measures are applicable on the data. So first we know about the data. So I think you all know that what is data. Data is the set of information. So whatever we have collected from the population or the sample, that is the data, because it contains some information. So set of information is data. Now again, if we take one example, say for one example, that if I suppose I have 100 students in my class, and if I am collecting the data of their marks in the mathematics in 12th class. So suppose everyone tells me that first got 90, second got 45, third got 35, next got 80. So these are 100 students marks, means the marks of the 100 students in mathematics in the 12th class. So through by observing these means, if I want to know the characteristic or any information from this data, I have to arrange this data in a particular manner so that we can extract the information which the data has. So the raw data does not communicate anything. Means I've simply collected, if I ask every student, every of 100 students that tell me your marks in mathematics in 12th class. So everybody told me about the marks in the mathematics. So these are the marks of 100 students. So if I want to know, or I want to take any information from this data, I have to do a lot of analysis to get some information from this data, because this is a raw collection of data. But if I arrange this data in a particular manner, or I must say that suppose I arrange this data in such a way that how many means I divide this data into four parts. The students who got marks in from 0 to 25, from 25 to 50, 50 to 75, and 75 to 100. So how many students are there? So from that data, I can observe, I can extract the information directly by seeing the data. So if the data is arranged in a particular manner, so the information can be extracted very easily. Otherwise, you have to do a lot of analysis to get the information that what data communicates. So now I have four partitions: 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. So I can get the information like that: how many students got a distinction in mathematics, how many got the marks less than 50% in mathematics, how many got the more than 60% in mathematics. So if the data is arranged in a particular manner, I can get the information from the data very easily. So that the arrangement of data is very important. So the same is written here: when observations, discrete or continuous, are available on a single characteristic of a large number of individuals, often it becomes necessary to condense the data as far as possible without losing any information of the interest. So the same example is written here, that for 100 students, these are the marks in mathematics. So the above representation of the data, because this is raw representation of data, it does not communicate any useful information, and is also very confusing to mind. So we arrange the data in such a way, either in tabular form or graphical form, so that it can provide some information about the data collected. So to extract the data, or to extract the information from the data easily, we arrange that data. So we have three kinds of representation here. So the collected data may be in individual in the form of individual series, in the form of discrete series, or continuous series. So what is the individual series of the data? Here we have the data points only. Means suppose this form is the individual series form. So all the marks are written one by one, separating them by commas. So this is individual series. So now the discrete series, if I arrange this data in such a way that, because there may be more students, more than one student who got 10 marks. So why we should repeat the 10 number again and again, here 10, here 10, like here. So I have counted that how many students got 10 marks, suppose 2 students. So in the form of frequency, I'm representing the data now. So X, that means the marks. So 10 marks. So there are 2 students who got 10 marks. There are 4 students who got 5 marks. There are 1 student who got 9 marks. There are 2 students who got 66 marks. So I have arranged data in such a way that repetition is not there now, because in this series, because we have 100 points. So in 100 points, the numbers may be in repeated form. So for repetition, I'm now writing the data in the form of frequency. So what is frequency? Frequency is number of occurrence of X in the data series. So 10 number is appearing 2 times, 5 number is appearing 4 times, 9 number is appearing 1 time, 66 appearing 2 times, 4 maybe any number of time, 90 maybe in 4 times. So this is the representation of the data, which is called discrete series. Now one more representation, which is continuous series. So continuous series, we have, what is the difference between discrete series and continuous series? In discrete series, the X, the variable values, they are in single form. They are like in single entity. But for continuous series, the X value is in the form of continuous interval point. So continuous interval size. So now I have divided the X in the form of intervals. So 0 to 5, how many students who got marks from 0 to 5 marks? There are 7 students. How many students who got marks from 5 to 10? In the range of 5 to 10, there are 3 students. There are 9 students who got marks between 10 to 15. So in this way, so this is again, the frequency means the total number of occurrence of X. So in the range 0 to 5, how many students got marks? Either 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So I have counted those numbers. So suppose it comes out 7. So this is continuous series. So continuous in the continuous series, we have X in terms of interval, continuous interval. 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. So the interval step size is maybe different. I may take the 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. So it depends on the user, how many intervals we want. So for interval, before considering the interval, we must have noticed that what is the range of marks. So because it is mathematical exam, so one may get minimum 0 marks or maximum 100 marks. So we have to divide whole data points in such a way that minimum comes out 0 and maximum comes out 100. So either in between we can take any step size, means 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, or 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 2 intervals only. So it depends on the user. So this is the representation of the data. So whenever we have to calculate measure of any measure of central tendency, we must notice what form of data we have. In either it is in individual series or in discrete series or in continuous series, because for all these forms we have different formulas. So first we have to notice that whether the data is given in individual series form or discrete series form or continuous series form. So now you know what is data, what is the importance of arranging the data, and what is the importance of calculating the central tendency for the data. So we calculate the central tendency for the data to find out one single value which can represent whole data points. So there are a lot of measures like arithmetic mean. We say this mean or average or median, sorry, the average or mean, which is arithmetic mean, the median, mode, geometric mean, harmonic mean. So one by one we will we will get to know what is, how to calculate arithmetic mean, how to calculate mean, median, mode. So now first measure of central tendency is arithmetic mean. We also say this as average or mean. So we represent this by x bar. So so what is the formula? Because it depends that which form of data is given to us. According to that we apply the formula. So for individual series means we have x values only. So the what is x bar? X bar is summation x by n. Summation x is the sum of all values in the data, and n is the total number of observation points. How many points are there in the data? So suppose for suppose this is the example. Evaluate mean for the following data. So first question 5, 4, 9, 10, 2. So this is an individual series because there is no frequency. So all the data points are given in a single series without frequency. So this is individual series. So how to calculate the average or the mean? X bar is summation of x divided by number of observation points. So how many points are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 points are there. Sorry. Okay, this is not 10. This is 1, comma 0. So 5, 4, 9, 1, 0, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 points are there. Now the summation. So summing up all the values, 5 plus 4 plus 9 plus 1 plus 0 plus 2. I have written this 10, but this is 1 plus 0. 5 plus 4, 9. 9 plus 9, 18. 18 plus 1, 19. 19 plus 0 is 19. 19 plus 2, 21. So 21 by 6. So the average is 3.5 for individual series. Next, for discrete series, how to do that? How to calculate the average? Simply this is sum, because now we have the frequency. So x bar is equal to summation x dot f. So this is x value and corresponding frequency. So we have to multiply those values, the x value and corresponding frequency. We have to multiply that, and we have to do this for every data point. We have to multiply its corresponding frequency. So next, summing up that values and divided by the total frequency is our average. So this is x 5, 4, 1, 2, and these are the corresponding frequencies. 5 comes 2 times in the series, 4 comes 8 times in the data series, 1 comes 2 times in the data series, 2 comes 4 times in the data series. So this is discrete series because x is single value. The frequency is given, but x is in single form, single entity. So this is discrete series. So this, for discrete series, what this is x, this is corresponding frequency. So for this we need the multiplication of x and corresponding frequency. So we have to multiply this 5 into 2, 4 into 8, 1 into 2, 2 into 4. So these are the multiplications. Now adding all the multiplication, this is coming out 52. So average is 52 divided by the total frequency, because now there are not 4 points in the data, because now we have the frequency. So 5 is coming 2 times, so 2. 4 is coming 8 times, so 2 plus 8, 10. 1 is coming 2 times, so 2 plus 8, 10 plus 12. And 2 is coming 4 times in the data series. So 12 plus 4, 16. So there are 16 points. So summation f is the total number of data points. So 52 by 16 is 3.25, which is our average. Now for the continuous series, so there is no difference in the formula for discrete series and continuous series except this x, because in continuous series we have the interval points in the x series. So this is x, this is f. So again for a continuous series, this is x, this is f. So we can, because we cannot multiply single value to frequency because this is interval. So 0 to 10, the frequency is 5. We don't know which number is coming 5 times. means we know one thing only, that in this range there are 5 points in the data. So we cannot multiply 0 to 5 or 10 to 5. It may be, it may have that we have 1 is repeating 2 times, 9 is repeating 1 time, 8 is repeating 2 times. So there are a lot of infinite number of possibilities. So we cannot multiply single value. So for this, what we do, we because we don't have single value for x, we have the interval for x. So what we do, we calculate the middle value of x for each of the interval, and for we multiply that middle value to is its corresponding frequency. Next is same. So आपको करना क्या है, this is x. Now this is continuous series because the x values are in form of interval. So 0 to 10 frequency 5, 10 to 12, 10 to 20 frequency is 2, 20 to 30 frequency is 6, 30 to 40 frequency is 3. So write the data in the tabular form, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and the corresponding frequencies. Now, because we require the middle value. So 0 to 10, what is the middle value? 5. 0 plus 10 by 2, 10 plus 20 by 2, 20 plus 30 by 2, 30 plus 40 by 2. So these are the middle points. Now the same process is there like in discrete series. So now this is x is in single form. So 5 into 5, 15 into 2, 25 into 6, 35 into 3. So these are the multiplications, summing up all the multiplications. So this is 310, and the total frequencies, because how many points are there? 5 plus 2 plus 6 plus 3. So this is the total number of observation points in the data. So 16. So this is 19 point something. So this is the mean. So so these are very simple formula how to calculate the average for individual series, discrete series, continuous series. Next, the median. So a median is the positional average of the data. So it represents a positional value in the data which divides the data into two equal parts. 50% 50% of the values in the data are below this point, and 50% of the data are greater than to this value. So average is a single numerical value in the data which represents the whole data points. Now the median is the positional average, means it divides the total data points into two equal parts, 50% less than that value and 50% greater than that value. So median is of a data distribution is that value of the variable which divides it into two equal parts. It is the value such that the number of observation above it equal to the number of observation below it. So it is a central value, exactly the middle value in the data. Clear? Median is the middle value of the data. So how to calculate that middle value? So for individual series, what we have to do? We have to first arrange the data in ascending or descending order. We can use any form, either ascending order form or descending order form. So first we have to arrange the data in one particular form, either in ascending form or descending form. Next, if the number of observation is odd, suppose we have odd number of points. So for odd number of points, we know that we have one middle value. So median is the middle value of the series. But when the number of observation is even, suppose we have 10 points. So for 10 points, we don't have single middle value. So suppose we have numbers from 1 to 10. So the middle values are the middle value is 5.5, but 5.5 it is not in the data. So it is either 5 or 6. So we have two middle values, 5 and 6. So we take the average of two middle values. But for odd numbers of data points, suppose we have 11 points. So we know the sixth positional value is our middle value, because for sixth positional value we have 5 points less than that value, 5 points greater than that value. So in total we have 11 points. Clear? So how to do that mathematically? So mathematically, total number of observations in data is n. We represent this by capital N. So summation f, summing up all the frequencies, we get capital N, which is the total number of observation. So if this number is odd, total number of observations is odd, then the median is, how to calculate the median, n plus 1 by 2, that term in the data series. So first we have to arrange the data in ascending or descending order. Then we have to calculate capital N, which is the summation of all frequencies. How many points are there actually? So how many points are there? If that is odd number, so suppose we have 11 points in the data series. So 11 plus 1, 12 by 2. So sixth term in the series. So the value at the sixth position is our median. That is our middle value of the data. And if n is even, suppose n is, we have 10 points in the data. So in that case we have two middle values. So how to calculate? Suppose we have 10 numbers in the data. So fifth term and fifth plus 1, that is sixth term in the data series. We have to calculate the average of these two values. So if n is even, so we have to calculate the n by 2, that number term in the data series, and n by 2, that number term plus 1, next term in the data series. So out of these two values, we have to calculate the average that represents our middle value or median of the data. So the examples, this is one individual series. So first we have to arrange that data. So arrangement is either in increasing form or decreasing form. So suppose we are taking ascending form. So 15, 18, 20, 25, 35. So this is the arrangement in ascending order. Now, how many points are there? There are 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which is an odd number. So n is odd. So for odd, we have, what is the median? N plus 1 by 2, that number term in the data series. So n plus 1 by 2, we have 5 points. So 5 plus 1 by 2, that is 6 by 2, third term in the data series. So third term is 15, 18, to first term, second term, third term. So 20 is our middle value. So you can verify from here also that 2 points are below that point, 2 points are greater than that point. So this is the middle value. So this is our median in this case. But if suppose you don't arrange the data, so directly by observing that there are 5 points, so this must be the middle value. But you can observe that 25, 20 are greater than this, but 35 is also greater than 15. So we cannot say that 15 divides the data points in their two equal parts. Here we have numbers greater than 15. Here also we have numbers greater than 15. So this is not the median. So first we have to arrange in increasing form or decreasing form. Then we apply the formula. Now we have again one individual series. Here now in this case we have 6 number of points. So 6 means even number of points. First arrange the data in increasing or decreasing form. So this is not in ascending form. 8, 15, 20, 25, 30, 50. So we have arranged the data in ascending form. Now, and since n is even, because we have 6 number of points, so median is the average of n by 2, that number term, and next term. So 6, because we have 6 points, so 6 by 2 term, that means third term, or 6 by 2 third plus 1, that means fourth term. So third term is 20, fourth term is 25. So average of these two numbers, so 20 and 25, what is the average? 22.5. So 22.5 is our middle value. It actually divides the data into two equal parts. So 22.5 is here. So 3 numbers are less than this and 3 numbers are greater than this. So this is our middle value of the data. That means median. Now the discrete series. So for discrete series, now we have X and corresponding frequency. So what is the process to get the median? Arrange the data in ascending order of X. Okay. Arrange the data in ascending order of X or in descending order of X, and calculate the cumulative frequencies for each X. Find n, which is the sum of all frequencies, and n by 2. summation f by 2. See the cumulative frequency just greater than n by 2 value. The corresponding value of x is median. So this is very easy. So obtain the median. This is x and the corresponding frequency. So we have the discrete series because x is single value. So we have discrete series. So these are x values, corresponding frequencies. So what is the next process? We have to calculate the cumulative frequency. So how to calculate the cumulative frequency? 8 plus 10 18 plus 11 29 plus 16 45, like this. So we have so first step is to calculate the cumulative frequency. So these are the cumulative frequencies. The total of frequencies is the last value of cumulative frequency. So 120. So adding all the frequency, we are getting 120 as capital N. So sum of all frequencies means the total number of points in the data. So what is the next step? We have the summation f and n by 2. So n by 2 is the 120 by 2, that is 60. Now we have to see which cumulative frequency includes this n by 2 value. So n by 2 is 60. So we have to search the cumulative frequency which includes 60 number. So 8, 18, 29, 45, 65. So we have to search the cumulative frequency which is just greater than the n by 2 value. So for 60, 65 is the next value because it is greater than 45. So 65 includes 60. So this is that cumulative frequency which includes n by 2 value, and its corresponding x value is our median. So 65 for corresponding to this cumulative frequency 65, the x value is 5. So this is our median. So I repeat the process: arrange the data in ascending or descending form, calculate the cumulative frequency, and calculate n by 2 and search the cumulative frequency which is just greater than n by 2 value, and the x value corresponding to that cumulative frequency is our median. Now the continuous series. So there is no difference in the process. Actually the same steps you have to follow. This is x, this is f, because for continuous series we have x values as intervals. So these are intervals. Frequencies, we have to calculate the cumulative frequency again n by 2. So now we have to see which cumulative frequency includes this n by 2 value. But what is the difference in last? The corresponding x means the x values corresponding to cumulative frequency which includes n by 2 is our median. But for discrete series we directly get one single value which is our median. But if we apply the same process for continuous series, we instead of single x we get one interval as median. So suppose 0 to 5. So in that interval we have median value. So first we are applying the same process. We have to search one interval, that is our median class, and for that median class we have to apply this formula which will give us our median. So this is L, the lower bound of median class. H is the interval difference of median class. This is the frequency of median class. This is n by 2 value, and this is the C, which is a this is a cumulative frequency of the class which is just before the median class. Now see the example. You will get it more by using the question. Find the median wages. So wages in rupees 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70. So this is our x variable, and these are the numbers of the number of labors. So labors which are getting the wages between 20 to 30, there are 3 labors. There are 5 labors who are getting wages from 30 to 40, and there are 20 laborers who are getting wages from 40 to 50. So this is the data. So the wages, this is x, which is interval form. Number of laborers means this is frequency. So these are frequencies 3, 5, 20, 10, 5. Now calculating the cumulative frequency. So 3 plus 5, 8 plus 20, 28 plus 10, 38 plus 5, 43. So now n by n is summation of frequency, which is the last value of cumulative frequency, that is 43. So 43 by 2 is 21.5. Now looking at the cumulative frequency, which is just greater than 21.5. So 3, 8, 28. So 28 includes this value. So corresponding to this cumulative frequency, this is our median class. So 40 to 50. So this is our median class. For this interval, we will apply the formula. So median, the lower bound of median class is 40. The h means the step size, the interval difference of median class. So 40 to 50, the difference is 10. So 10, you have to take the absolute difference. Okay. So next, this is the frequency of median class. So 20. So this is 20. Now n by 2 is 21.5, 21.5. Now C is the cumulative frequency just before the median class. So this is median class. So its preceding median cumulative frequency is 8. So this is 8. So calculating this, we are getting 46.75, which is between this range. So you can verify your answer. It must come in this range, in the median class, 40 to 50. So if you are getting below 40 or greater than 50, that means you are making some mistake. So this is our median value. Now the mode. So mode, the most frequent value in the data points, means which occurs more than the other values. So consider the following statement. The average height of an Indian is 5'6". The average size of shoe sold is 7. So in both of the above cases, the average referred to is mode. So like I told initially that what is mode, and for shoe production company, the central value, the central tendency mode is more appropriate. It cannot means it should not calculate the average, but it should calculate the mode for its industry. So in both in these, if somebody is saying that average size of shoes sold is 7, so this average is not a mean, this is mode. Actually it represents the mode of the data. So 7 size is most frequent size in the human. So mode is that value in the series which occurs most frequently in set of observation, means which appears more than the other values in the data points. So for individual series, simply you have to see that you have to observe which number is repeated more than the others. So mode is X value in series which occurs most frequently in the series. So the mode of the series, this is individual series 10, 5, 2, 5, 6, 2, 3, 9, 5, 1. So which is most frequent value? 5. 5 number is appearing 3 times, and which is highest among all the values. So 5 is the mode, the most frequent value, the number which is repeating more than the others. So next, for discrete series, the mode is the value of X corresponding to maximum frequency. Again, what is frequency? Frequency is the number of times the X value is coming in the data series. So we have to search the most frequent value. So the frequent, this X1 is coming 4 times, 2 is coming 9 times, 3 is coming 16 times, 4 is coming 25 times. So the most frequent value is 4, because it is corresponding to maximum frequency. So maximum frequency is 25. So the corresponding X is our mode. So in this case, 4 is our mode value. But so in any of the following cases, if the maximum frequency is repeated, means suppose this is 25, again suppose the 8 number is coming 25 times. So if the most frequency is repeated, or maximum frequency occurs in very beginning or at the end of distribution, suppose this 25 is at first position or at last position. And third case, there are irregularities in the distribution. So irregularities means like in this frequency distribution, 4, 9, 16, 25, 22, 15, 7, 3. So this is like this. First it is increasing up to 25, then it is decreasing to 3. So this is regular frequencies. But if you observe here, 3, 8, 15, 23, 35, 40. So it is going up to 40 increasingly. Then it is decreasing 32, 28, 22. But again, this is coming out 45. So this is irregularity in the system. So if your system is like this, your data distribution is like this, where there is no regular data points. So we will say that this is the third case. So in any of these cases, means when maximum frequency is repeated, or maximum frequency occurs very beginning or at the end of distribution, or there are irregularities in the distribution. So in any of these cases, we will not get the mode by using this, because in this case we have two modes. Because if suppose 25 is coming 2 times, so both are more the maximum frequencies, so the corresponding x are our modes, so we will get two modes. So what we do in case of repetition in the maximum frequency, or in these two cases, we will apply a grouping method. So what is grouping method? Suppose we will analysis that method using this question: find the mode. So these are x values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the corresponding frequency 3, 8, 15, 23, 35, 40, and like this. So the distribution is not regular, since the frequencies are increasing smoothly up to 40. So for up to 40 it is increasing, then decrease, but the frequency 45 after 20 does not follow the pattern. So this is irregular system, is regular distribution. So we will apply the grouping method. So how to do grouping? How to calculate the mode using grouping method? So write x, means the x values sequentially. Next, now what you have to do, we have to identify the columns. So first column, second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column, sixth column, and how to write the frequencies. So these are with respect to frequencies. These all columns are with respect to frequencies. So we have to first write the frequencies directly. So 1, the frequency is 3, 8, 15 from here, 3, 8, 15, 23, 35. So this is first column, which it is with respect to frequencies. Next, for second column, what we have to do, you have to add the consecutive two frequencies. So first and second, 3 plus 8, 11. Next, 15 plus 23, 38. 35 plus 40, 75. 30. So we have to make groups. Now in group there are two members, 3 plus 8, and consecutive two numbers, 3 plus 8, 15 plus 23, 35 plus 40, 32 to 28, 20 to 45, 14 to 6. So if we have even numbers, all groupings are done. But suppose we have odd numbers, so one would be left at the last. Suppose we have 11 numbers, so 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus means 10. Up to 10 we will get pairing, but for 11th value we don't have second value, so we will remain that as it is. So for we will do this for as many times we are getting the two numbers. So 3 plus 8, 11, 15 plus 23, 38, 35 plus 40, 75, 32 plus 28, 60, 22, 45, 65, 14 plus 6, 20. Now in the next column, what we have to do, leaving the first element in the first column, leaving this first element, now we have to again pairing the elements. So after 3, 8 plus 15, 23 plus 35, 40 plus 32, 28 plus 20, 45 plus 14, and the last value is still, it is a single value, so we will leave that. So what we have to do, first column is with respect to frequencies. For second column we have to add consecutive two frequencies, 3 plus 8, starting from first, 3 plus 8, 15 plus 23, 35 plus 40, like this. For third column, leaving the first element of the first column, again we have to add two consecutive frequencies. So 8 plus 15, 23 plus 35, 40 plus 32, 28 plus 20, 45 plus 14. Now we have single value, so we will leave that. So we will add the frequency till 45 and 14. So what we are getting, 59, 45, 45 plus 14 is 59. So up to this. Now for next column, what we have to do now, we have to make the group of 3 elements, consecutive 3 elements. So starting from first, because now in fourth column we cannot leave the 2 elements and getting the 2 group, the members, the group of 2 members, because if we leave 3 plus 3 and 8, the next is 15 plus 23, so again we will get 38, again we will 75, 60. So now the 2 members group is closed. Now we will make the 3 members group. So starting from first, 3 plus 8 plus 15, 26, 23, 35, 40, 98, 32, 28, 20, 80, 45, 14, 6, 65. Again, what is the next column? Leaving the first element in the first column. Again, we will make the group of 3 members, 3 elements. So 8, 15, 23, 46, 35, 40, 32, 107, 28, 20, 45, 93. Now we don't have 3 members, so we will leave that. Now in the next column, again we will leave 2 elements and will make the group of 3 members, consecutive members. So leaving 3 and 8 now. So now 15, 23, 35, 73, 40, 32, 28, 100, 20, 45, 14, 79. And because we have single value, so we will leave that. So now we will stop here. Now we will identify the maximum in each of the column. So for first column, 45 is maximum. For second column, 75 is maximum. For third column, 72 is maximum. For fourth column, 98 is maximum. For fifth column, 107 is maximum. For sixth column, 100 is maximum. So now column number, write the second table, like so. Write all the columns, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. We have 6 columns. The maximum frequencies, the 45, 75, 72, 98, 107, 100. So these are maximum frequencies in the corresponding column, first column, second column, third column. Now the values of X contributing in maximum frequencies. So this 45, what is 45? It is with respect to X. So 45 is with respect to 10. So 10. Now the maximum frequency 75. It is with respect to 35, 40. That means 5 and 6. So 5 and 6. Now 72. So 72 is the addition of these 2 frequencies, 40 and 32. So 40 and 32 is with respect to 6 and 7. So 6 and 7. Now 98. 98 is the addition of 3 frequencies. Which 3 frequencies? 23, 35, 40. So the corresponding X, 4, 5, 6. So 4, 5, 6. Now 107 is the addition of 3 frequencies. Which 3 frequencies? 35, 40 and 32. So corresponding X, 5, 6, 7. So 5, 6, 7. Again 100. 100 is the addition of 3 frequencies, 40, 32, 28. So 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. Now we have to, now these are our data points. Now we have to see which number is occurring most frequently. So here 6 is appearing 5 times. So other numbers are 5, 5, 5. So it is 3 times. 7, 7, 7, 3 times. 8 is 1 time. 4 is 1 time. 10 is 1 time. So the 6 number is repeating maximum times. So it is the most frequent value. So 6, 6, 6, 5 times. So 6 is our mode. The value 6 is repeated the maximum number of times. Hence the value of mode is 6. So this is the process for calculating the mode in discrete series when either we have maximum frequency, means either in the case when maximum frequency is repeated, maximum frequencies occurs at very beginning or at the end of distribution, or there are irregularities in the distribution. So we apply grouping method. Now the continuous case, how to calculate the mode in continuous case. So again, what we will do, the first we will find out the most frequent value, that is the X corresponding to maximum frequency. So suppose it will come out as an interval because we have continuous series. So for that continuous interval means the X interval corresponding to maximum frequency is our modal class. So for that modal class, we will apply this formula and we will get our mode. So see the example how to do that. Find the mode. So data is wages 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 like this. 7 to 8, 7 to 80, 70 to 80 is not there. So corresponding frequencies are given 4, 16, 60, 100, 46, 4. So which is the most what is the most frequent maximum frequency? 100. This is the maximum frequency. So corresponding to this maximum frequency, we have X value, and this represents our modal class. So this is given to us, the X wedges and corresponding frequency. So we will observe the maximum frequency, and corresponding to that frequency, the X interval is our modal class. For this modal class, we will apply the formula. So what is the formula? L is the lower bound of this modal class, 30. Next, H is the absolute difference between the interval points. So 30 to 40, what is the difference? 10. F1 is the frequency of modal class, so 100. F0 is the frequency before before modal class, so 60. And 2F1 means again 2 into 100. F1 is the frequency of modal class. F0 is the frequency before modal class, 60. And F2 is the frequency after the modal class. So this is F1, this is F0, and this is F2. So this is 40. So adding all the calculating this expression, we will get 34. So it must come between this range, 30 to 40. So mode is 34. So this was about mode. Now the geometric mean. So we have now I'm instructing the formulas only. You can get you can apply these formula to any of the questions here. Individual series, discrete series, continuous series. So what is the process to find the geometric mean? So for individual series, we have X values only, X1, X2 up to suppose N values. So what is the geometric mean? Geometric mean is the nth root of the product of N values. So suppose we have 2 values in the data. So it is square root of product of first into second value. If we have 3 values in the data point, so it is the cubic root of product of first into second into third value. Similarly, if we have N values, so geometric mean is the nth root of product of N values. So how to calculate? It is very difficult to calculate. If suppose we have more numbers, suppose 50 numbers. So you have to multiply 50 numbers, and you have to calculate the 50th root of that product. So the product may go on very long because we have to multiply 50 numbers. So it may be a very big number. So instead of calculating in this form, we apply the log property to make the calculation easy. So what is the log? GM, log of geometric mean, is equal to log of this, because these are two values which are equal. So taking the log of these two values, so log of this is equal to log of this, and this is log m to the power n. So this will come out here, power 1 by n, and log of the product. So now the log property of the product of values. So log of product is equal to log x1 plus log x2 plus log xn. We have to apply log separately on n values and adding all the log values. So this is a summation. So summation log xi, I varies from 1 to n. So we have to take the log of for x, each of the x values, adding all the log values and divided by n. So this is the log of geometric mean. So again, we have to calculate the geometric mean. So geometric mean is the anti-log of this value. So directly we will apply this formula. So once we have individual series, what we will do, we will take the log of each value in the data series. We will add all log values, will divide by that by number of observation, and we'll take the anti-log of that value. This will represent our geometric mean. So this is very simple. So again, for discrete series, now we have X and F. So what is the geometric mean? Because now the X1 value coming F1 times in the data series. So we have, how many values are there? F1 plus F2 plus Fn. This is the total frequency. So 1 by total frequency. So how many values are there to summation f, and how, so because x1 is coming f1 times, so x1 into x1 into x1 into x1, how many times? F1 times. So x1 to the power f1. Similarly, x2 is coming f2 times, so x2 into x2 into x2 into x2, f2 times, so x to the power f2. Similarly, xn to the power fn. So this is the geometric mean. Now again, we will take the help of log to make the calculation easy. So log of geometric mean is equal to 1 by summation f log of this product. Again, this summation f is represented by n, capital N, the total frequencies. So this is a product, log of product of values. So log of this plus log of this, log of this. So again, we will apply f1 log x1 by log property, f2 log x2, fn log xn. So fi log xi summing up divided by capital N. This is log of geometric mean. So geometric mean is the anti-log of this value. So directly, if we have discrete series, we will take the log of for each x values, we will multiply corresponding frequency. We will add all these multiplications. They will divide by capital N, means summation of frequencies, and will take anti-log. So this will represent our geometric mean. For continuous series, what is the difference? Only difference is xi. Instead of xi, we have x mid. Otherwise, there is no difference because we have x as an interval, not as a single value. So what we will do, we will take the middle value of this interval, middle value of this interval, middle value of this interval. We'll take log of each of the middle values. We will apply multiply the corresponding frequency, add all the multiplications, divide by total frequencies. We'll take the anti-log. This will our geometric mean. So this is geometric mean. Now the harmonic mean. So how to calculate the harmonic mean? Harmonic mean of a number of observation is the reciprocal of the arithmetic mean of the reciprocal. So suppose these are x values, individual series. So what we will do first, first we will calculate arithmetic mean of reciprocal of these values. So 1 by x1, 1 by x2, 1 by xn. What is the arithmetic mean of these numbers? 1 by adding all the 1 by x values and divided by the total number of observation, and we have to take the now reciprocal of this arithmetic mean. So n will go. So this is 1 upon the arithmetic mean of reciprocals of the values. So n by summation 1 by xi. So directly you have to use this formula. Suppose we have been given with individual series, take the inverse of this of all the values, 1 by x1, 1 by x2, 1 by x3, add all the values, calculate how many points are there, and by divided by that summation is our harmonic mean. Similarly, for discrete series, what you have to do, you have to reverse every number, 1 by x1, 1 by x2, 1 by x3, and we will multiply that number corresponding to its frequency, its corresponding frequency, 1 by x1 into f1, 1 by x2 into f2, 1 by x3 into f3. Or we will add all these values, and n means total frequency divided by that number is our harmonic mean. And for continuous series, what we will do, instead of xi, what we will do, we will take the x mid. So middle points of each of the interval, we will reverse each middle value, 1 by x1, 1 by x2, 1 by x3, and we will multiply that number to its corresponding frequency, add all the values, and n divided by that number is our harmonic mean. So this was our harmonic mean. So we have studied all about the measures of central tendency: arithmetic mean, median, mode, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. So in the next lecture, we will study about the measure of dispersion and the moments.